Okay, so today we'll talk about projectile motion on an inclined plane, and quickly we'll go through this. This is very easy concept, and after that we'll have uh, very good questions. You'll enjoy those questions. See, so we have already studied about the projectile motion, ground to ground projectile motion, right? And up the tower, from tower we have thrown ball upside and like at some angle and downside. So we have already studied. So now we'll talk about the motion on projectile on inclined plane. See, uh, first case we'll talk about up the inclined plane, up the inclined. Suppose this is called angle of inclination. Alpha is known as angle of inclination. Alpha is known as angle of inclination. And suppose you throw some object or ball at some angle theta. This is called as theta is known as angle of projection with inclined plane. IP means inclined plane. And theta plus alpha, we can call it as angle with angle of projection with inclined plane. Tamanna and Abrudweep, right?
Yes, sir.
Abrudweep is in Fiji. So he's this chapter is finished in Fiji. So you can you can observe and you can feel the difference.
Sir,
And
angle
Tamanna
of
is
projection with ground.
with ground, right? Sorry, with ground, with ground. Now, see, when we'll throw this ball will follow this parabolic path and will strike the plane somewhere here. On this ball, gravity will always work downward. So see, this is the direction of acceleration due to gravity, right? So in this case, we'll take x-axis along the inclined plane and y-axis perpendicular to inclined plane. Now we'll break this G into two parts, like one along the x-axis and one along the y-axis. So if this angle is alpha, so definitely this and this is perpendicular. So this is 90 minus alpha. So this will also be alpha, right? So it will have two components, G cos alpha and G sin alpha. Okay. And we know that what we have to do, we have to make the table. Initially, just for the practice, once you get used to, then you can ignore that. You can directly solve this question. So we'll have two chart x along x-axis and along y-axis. So along x-axis, we'll write all the components of initial velocity, final velocity, acceleration, etc. So we have initial velocity along x-axis. Suppose you have thrown this object with some initial speed u at some angle theta with the horizontal, sorry, with the inclined plane. And we have also assumed x-axis along the inclined plane, right? So it will have two components, u cos theta along x-axis and u sin theta along y-axis. So the initial component of the velocity along x-axis means inclined plane will be u cos theta, and initial component along y-axis is u sin theta. Till now, from ground to ground, we had no acceleration along x-axis because it was from ground to ground. So gravity will always work downward. So there will be only one acceleration, that is along y-axis. But in this case, we are discussing the motion on inclined plane. So we have two components of the acceleration, one along the x-axis and one along the y-axis. So here we'll have acceleration along x-axis, that is g sin alpha, but it is towards negative x-axis. So it will be minus g sin alpha. And acceleration along y-axis is minus g cos alpha. We have considered this is positive side, and this positive side, and this negative side. Now, suppose we have to find the velocity at any moment. So velocity will have two components at any time, Vx and Vy. So we can find simply Vx equal to Ux plus Ax into t. And because acceleration is constant, so we can apply this formula. So Ux is U cos theta minus G sin alpha into t. And here Vy is Uy plus Ay into t. So Uy is U sin theta minus G cos alpha into t. So that is how we can find velocity at any moment, that can be written as Vxi plus Vyj. So just put it. If you want to find the speed magnitude of the velocity, you can simply take the modulus and you can take this squared plus this squared and you can get the speed. So 11th guys, you can note it down till here. And 12th guys, wait for another 5-10 minutes. I'll give you the questions. Done, noted. China noted. Ayushi, Archit, all noted. Okay, fine. Let's move ahead and find displacement along x-axis and y-axis. So displacement along x-axis, you can simply write initial velocity like a ut plus half at squared. So you have to take x component only, uxt plus half axt squared. So ux is u cos theta into t minus half ax is minus g sin alpha into t squared. Similarly, you can find ut plus half a by t square. You have to simply put ui this thing and ay this thing here, and you can find that value. Now I want to find time of flight. Find time of flight. See, you have thrown object from here at this point, right? And it will like take this path, it will strike the plane over here. So the time taken by this object to come from here to this point is known as time of flight. How do you find that time of flight? So you can see that the particle has been thrown from this point, and it has come all the way to this point. So you can see that its y displacement is 0, because this is x-axis and this is y-axis. So its y displacement is 0. It means that we can apply simple this thing, displacement along y-axis, that is uy t plus half ay t square equal to 0. Ui is what? U sine theta, u sine theta into time of flight. Time of flight, let's say capital T, minus half ay. Ay is g cos alpha into t square, that is 0. So t equal to 0. At t equal to 0, particle will be here. So we can simply ignore that. And from here we can find t equal to 2u sine theta upon g cos alpha. You can observe one thing. When we talked about ground to ground projectile here, you can see at some angle theta, u is the speed, it will ball was projected. So this was the time of flight. So time of flight was 2u sine theta upon g, right? G was acting perpendicularly downward. So it was 2uy, means initial speed along y-axis, upon g perpendicular. That was perpendicular, right? Here also we have the same thing. 2uy means along the y-axis, speed along the y-axis, upon g cos theta. G cos alpha. What is this? G perpendicular, na? G cos alpha is perpendicular to x-axis. See, this we can also call it G effective. That is perpendicular to the x-axis, right? Understood? So if you remember formula like this, 2uy upon gy. You can say gy or G perpendicular. So if it is ground to ground projectile motion, it will be simply G. And if it is at inclined plane, it will be G perpendicular. That is G cos alpha. Note it down. Now, second, this was the first point. Second point is H max. H max means this is the H max from inclined plane. This is the H max, maximum height of the projectile from inclined plane. How will you find this? Again, same thing. Again, same thing. How will you do this? At this maximum point, you can say that this ball will have only horizontal velocity. There is no vertical velocity along y-axis. So here, the y component of the velocity will be 0. So Vy square equal to Uy square plus 2ay into displacement along y-axis, that is H max. So this is 0. Uy is u sine theta. U sine theta whole square minus 2. Ay is g cos alpha into H max. So H max is u square sine square theta upon 2g. In ground to ground projectile motion, we had h equal to u square sine square theta upon 2g. So that is g perpendicular. And here it is g perpendicular again. But the value is different. G sine alpha. Sorry, g cos alpha. That is g perpendicular, right? Note it down. अब्रोदीप, तुम्हें तो पता होगा ये सब बातें।
यस सर।
तमन्ना, तुम्हें पता है ये सब बातें?
यस सर।
तमन्ना, तुम किसी कोचिंग में थी इससे पहले?
सर एलन।
एलन, इस बार जेई मेंस दिया था?
यस सर।
कितना परसेंटाइल आया?
सर 65।
अच्छा ठीक है, ओके ओके, ठीक है। ठीक है, अभी बस 2 मिनट और रुको, बस थ्योरी फिनिश कर रहा हूँ, क्योंकि ये 11th वाले बच्चे हैं ना, तो थ्योरी फिनिश करने के बाद ना अच्छे क्वेश्चंस करने वाले हैं, क्योंकि इनको भी मैं शुरुआत से ही रोडो करवाता हूँ। श्रेया जी, लिख लिया आपने?
हाँ सर।
चलो, आयुषी, अर्चित, शायना, नोटेड।
यस।
ठीक है, चलो आगे चलते हैं। नाउ आई विल फाइंड रेंज and I'll also tell you the short trick like I did in ground to ground projectile motion. Range. Third point is find range. How will you find range? Range means displacement along x-axis. So this is your x-axis. This will be your range along the inclined plane. How will you find? Displacement along x-axis is uxt plus half ax t square. And your displacement along x-axis is range. Ux was u cos theta. U cos theta into t. T means time of flight, total time of flight, right? And that is 2u sin theta upon g perpendicular, that is g cos alpha, plus half, but ax is minus g sin alpha, so minus half g sin alpha into t square, that is t square of this. So you have to square it, 4u square sin square theta upon g square cos square alpha. ठीक है? 2 and 2 cancel, g and g cancel. Now we have, see, this alpha is constant, right? Only theta can vary. So we'll talk about later. First, let's find r. So r is, you can see here, this is 2 u square upon g into sin theta into cos theta upon cos alpha minus 2 u square sin alpha sin square theta upon cos square alpha. You can take common 2u square upon g, and sin theta will also come out. 1 sin theta, this and this. Cos alpha, 1 cos alpha also will come out. So now here in this term we will have cos theta, and here we will have sin alpha into sin theta upon cos alpha. 2 square, 2u square upon g, sin theta upon cos alpha. Take LCM, cos theta into cos alpha minus sin alpha into sin theta upon cos alpha. So this is like, I write here 2u square upon g sin theta upon cos alpha into, this is cos A cos B minus sin A sin B. That is the formula of cos A plus B. Note it down. This is square, multiply. Note it down till here. So this is the formula of range, but you don't have to remember this thing. We can simply apply this logic and find anyway, anytime. देवयानी अच्छे से करना, रिवीजन है ना, ये फिर दोबारा मौका नहीं मिलेगा। जहां भी डाउट हो पूछ लेना मुझसे। चित कहाँ गया? अर्चित, तुम्हारा वीडियो क्यों ऑफ हो गया? तुम लोगों ने शाइना एंड आयुषी, हैव यू गाइस कंप्लीटेड फर्स्ट 50 क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम एनावस्थी?
Sir, for chemistry.
So we already talked around 20 questions in the class only, na? So from 20 to 50 you have to solve
Sir, for chemistry only, right?
in chemistry only. And I also sent you the test paper. Have you gone through that test paper? Okay, we'll discuss that test paper as well. Chalo, noted now. Let's move ahead. Now see, uh, I had no interest in deriving this expression, but the point that I wanted to talk about is I have to find the maximum range, because I have to find the relation between theta and alpha. Like at what theta and at what alpha, what could be the relation between theta and alpha, so that we can have maximum range on inclined plane, right? See, this is the range. Now you can see that R is 2u square upon g cos square alpha. Alpha is constant, right? Because this is the inclination of inclined plane. So that is not going to change. The angle, like theta can change. At different angle, we can project the ball. So these two things are like sine theta and cos theta plus alpha. These two are variable terms. So this complete thing is constant. So R is a function of theta only. Now suppose I have to find R max. So we'll talk about this maximum minimum in calculus. So whenever we have to find maximum or minimum of any function, we always differentiate. So R is a function of theta. So we'll differentiate R with respect to theta. So differentiate R with respect to theta. So dr by d theta. This is read as differentiation of R with respect to theta. So constant term will come out. So this is 2u square upon g cos square alpha. It will come out. And this is like product rule. U into v. Product rule. So it will be like, we'll differentiate one function and other function will be as it is. So let's differentiate sin theta first. So this will give you cos theta and this will remain as it is. So cos theta plus alpha. And then sin theta will be as it is. And differentiation of cos is minus sin. So minus sin theta plus alpha. Now you can notice that. So this is again like cos A into cos B minus sin A into sin B. So the formula is cos A plus B. Now, so we got this expression cos 2 theta plus alpha. Now, whenever we have to find maximum and minimum value of any function, first thing we do, we differentiate it with respect to the variable. And then second thing we do is we equate this differentiation to 0. So if we equate this to 0, so this is constant, this is not going to be 0. So only term, this will become 0. So when cos will become 0, cos will become 0 at every odd multiple of pi by 2. So this angle must be pi by 2. Understood? So theta can be pi by 4 minus alpha by 2. This is the relation between theta and alpha. For R max, for maximum range, we have to project at angle that will satisfy this relation. So this angle theta will be, if you project any ball at this angle 45 degree minus alpha by 2, then it will have maximum range. So this is the important concept that we have to remember. So for this only, I derived this much thing. Now I also tell you one trick. how to find in a in a few seconds. First, you note it down, then I'll tell you. So alpha is the angle of inclination, and theta is the angle of projection. So for maximum range, theta should be 45 degree minus alpha by 2.
So it need not always be pi by 2, right?
Sorry,
So it doesn't always have to be pi by 2.
no. Whenever for R max only. If you want maximum range, you have to throw the ball at this angle, 45 minus alpha by 2.
So can you explain the last part again?
See, suppose you have a
Equating it in.
function. You have a function that is the function of theta, right? The variable part is theta. So whenever you have to find maximum or minimum value of any function, you have to first thing that you have to do is you have to differentiate that function with respect to that variable. So this function R is a function that is dependent on theta, right? If you vary theta, that is the angle of projection, you will get different range. So we differentiated it with respect to theta, and then we equated it to 0. So constant part will not be 0. So cos 2 theta plus alpha, that is the variable part. So this will become 0. And when cos becomes 0, at every odd multiple of pi by 2. So 2 theta plus alpha must be multiple of 90 degree. So 2 theta plus alpha will be 90 degree. So 2 theta will be 90 minus alpha. And then theta will be divided by 2, 45 minus alpha by 2. This is
So,
the case.
so theta has to always be a multiple of 90 by, 90 degrees.
No, who told you that?
So I
Theta
don't-
will be no. 2 theta plus alpha will be odd multiple of pi by 2 because cos will become 0 only at odd multiple of pi by 2. Cos 90 0, cos 270 0, like that.
And so
Sorry.
how did theta after that? Oh. Understood.
Okay. Note it down. Noted. Done. China and IOC is there. Okay. IOC's audio is not working. Okay, fine. Let's move ahead. Okay. Now, see, we got this value. We understood that if we throw if we throw the ball at 45 minus alpha by 2, then the range will be maximum. Then what would be the what would be the maximum value of range? So theta we have 45 degree minus alpha by 2. So find R max. If you can remember this value, you can remember. This is useful. 2u square upon g sine theta. For theta, put this thing in this expression. 45 degree minus alpha by 2 upon this is cos square alpha. This is cos theta plus alpha. So for theta, you put 45 minus alpha by 2 and plus alpha. So here 2u squared upon g, and this is sine 45 minus alpha by 2. This is cos 45 plus alpha by 2 upon cos square alpha. Now you can see u square upon g cos square alpha. So see, this is 2 sine A cos B. 2 sine A cos B. What is the formula of 2 sine A cos B? Abrodui.
So sin A plus B.
Sorry?
Sin A plus B plus sin A minus.
Okay. So the formula of 2 sine A sine B is sine A plus B plus sine A minus B. So sine A plus B, this plus this, alpha by 2 gone. That is sine 90 and plus sine A minus B. So sine this minus this. So this will become this minus this. 45 gone, minus alpha by 2, minus alpha by 2. That is minus alpha. So sine minus alpha, minus sine alpha. So minus will come out. Sorry. U square upon G. This is 1. 1 minus sine alpha. You can write this cos square alpha as 1 minus sine square alpha. You can see that 1 minus sine alpha will cancel out, and then you will have U square by G into 1 plus sine alpha. So this is the value of R max. You have to remember this. If you can remember that, it will be good. Note it down. So on an inclined plane, the plane, not down the plane. Up the plane, theta should be 45 minus alpha by 2, and R max will be U square upon G, 1 plus sine alpha. Now I'll talk about down the plane. So what is the value of theta? Suppose, Abrodeep, if I talk about if you project any ball down the inclined plane, and we have angle of inclination is as alpha and angle of projection as theta, same data. We just have to think about the down the plane. If you project any ball down the plane, then what could be the value of theta in terms of alpha to have the maximum range? Like up the plane, we have 45 plus alpha by 2, right? So what about in case of down the plane?
5 by 4 plus alpha by 2.
Tamanna?
Sir, it will be added.
Perfect. Noted. Ayushi, Archit, noted?
Yes, sir.
Now I'll tell you the shortcut, how to find the theta. See, there is a shortcut. Suppose if you have to find the theta, so that like you want R to be max. Shortcut to find theta for R max. See, along the inclined plane. So consider this inclined plane as first plane that we have to on which we are discussing the projectile motion, right? And this angle is alpha. Now acceleration you can see that is g, that is vertically downward. So take reverse of acceleration. So reverse of acceleration is this. So this is your second line. First line will be the plane on which projectile is happening, right? And the second line should be opposite to the acceleration. Opposite to the acceleration. So acceleration is g. So opposite is second plane that I have marked. So this complete angle is 90 degree. So this angle will be pi by 2 minus alpha, right? Now draw the angle bisector of these 1 and 2 line. Angle bisector. This is your angle bisector. This is just the shortcut. Angle bisector. And what would be this angle? Half of this angle, that is pi by 4 minus alpha by 2. So this should be your theta. So if you throw the ball at this angle, you will get maximum range. Understood? This is the shortcut. You can apply anywhere. You can write in words, consider plane 1 on which projectile is happening, plane 2 or line 2 opposite to the acceleration, and then take the angle bisector of plane line 1 and line 2. That angle bisector, if you throw the ball, then you will get maximum range. This is how you can remember it. देवयानी कुछ डाउट है? अच्छा.
Sir, could you please say that again?
To find the maximum range, अच्छा लिखो step 1 लिखो. Consider the line or plane on which projectile is happening as line 1. Consider the plane or line on which projectile is happening as line 1, and a line opposite to the acceleration. A line opposite to the acceleration as line 2. And then if the particle is thrown at angle bisector of line 1 and line 2, then that particle will travel maximum distance. Yeah, it will have maximum range. क्या बात देवानी हंस रही हो? देवयानी हंस क्यों रही हो? हंस क्यों रही हो? देवयानी को लग रहा है सर हमको आता है ये सब चीज, याद नहीं होगा ना?
ऐसे ये लाइक जो एक्सप्लेनेशन वो बड़ा वाला क्या याद है?
अच्छा बड़ा वाला फॉर्मूला याद है?
फॉर्मूला नहीं याद है लेकिन एक्सप्लेनेशन याद है.
अच्छा ठीक है, ये अब 11th वाले बच्चे हैं ना, देखते हैं अगले टेस्ट में तुम लोग, अगला टेस्ट तुम लोग को ये अगले संडे का होगा, मतलब ये संडे नहीं, उसके अगले संडे. मुझे 250 प्लस चाहिए. सिलेबस सेम रहेगा, देखते हैं कौन कौन लाता है. पार्थ ने बोला ले आएगा, देवयानी तो ले ही आएगी, है देवयानी? श्रेया जी, आप क्या कर रही हैं? पेज का नाम आप कितना कम नंबर क्यों लाई?
Sir,
बोलो ना सर, बहुतों से ज्यादा लाई मैं। अच्छा, आएगा आएगा, डोंट वरी। हो गया, नोटेड। चलो, नाउ सेकंड केस, 5 more minutes डाउन द इंक्लाइन प्लेन। Down the inclined plane. See, we have an inclined plane. Its angle of inclination is alpha. Now I'll throw the ball like this, downside. So this angle is theta, right? Again, we have the same thing. We'll consider now this as x-axis and this as y-axis, right? And this is the initial speed that okay, so we have the initial speed u, right? Now you can see that again we have the same thing, like acceleration is always acting downward, so it will have two components. So one along the x-axis and one along the y-axis. So this angle is alpha. So this is 90. So this will be 90 minus alpha. So this will be again alpha. So this g will have two components, g cos alpha and g sin alpha. Now suppose if I ask you to find the time of flight, if I ask you to find time of flight, so this time taken in this complete journey is time of flight. So again, you will do, how will you find? So y displacement is 0. So y displacement is displacement along y-axis is 0. So you can apply this formula. Y equal to uyt plus half ay t squared. So this is 0. Ui is what? U. This is u sin theta and this is u cos theta. So u sin theta is your initial speed along y-axis and this is the time of flight, and acceleration is negative, minus g cos alpha. So you'll have the same result, half g cos alpha into t square. T gone because at t equal to 0 particle will be here, and you have t as 2u sin theta upon g cos alpha. Again you have the same thing, 2u vertical or u along y-axis upon g vertical, or you can also say g effective. Now I'll find again like h max. So we'll have the same thing, h max. This is your h from inclined plane. Again, this is the top point. So here it will have velocity only along the x-axis. There is no velocity along y-axis. So we'll do v square equal to u square plus 2as. So v along y-axis. So vy, u along y-axis, acceleration along y-axis, displacement along y-axis. So because of displacement along y-axis will give you this h. So this is 0. This is u square sin square theta minus 2ay, that is g cos alpha, and sy is h. So h will be u square sin square theta upon 2g cos alpha. This is your h max. Note it down quickly.
so how are you canceling the that t on the right
Because we
equation?
know that now. We know that. So if you take t common, so one, it will be like t common u sin theta minus g cos alpha by 2 equal to 0 or into 1t. So either this will be 0 or this will be 0. We know that at t equal to 0, particle will be here only. So that is not going to be its time of flight. So like we can get the time of flight from here only. So I just cancel it because we know that t can't be 0 in this case. So if you know that, any term that is not going to be 0, you can simply cancel. No problem in that. Understood, Saina?
Yes, sir.
Noted? Noted?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, आगे चलते हैं. Okay, now I'll find range. For that range, again we'll use range means what? Displacement along x-axis. So we'll use r equal to displacement along x-axis. So this is your range from here to here. So ux into time of flight complete, because total time of flight from here to here plus half ax into t square. So ux is u cos theta into t. T is 2u sin theta upon g perpendicular. That is, in this case, this is g cos alpha. And acceleration is, in this case, along the positive x-axis. So it will be positive only, right? G sin alpha. So plus half g sin alpha into t square. T square means 4u square sin square theta upon g square cos square alpha. So g gone, 2 gone, 2. So now it is like 2u square sin theta you can take common from here and here, and then g and cos alpha you can take common. So you will have here only cos theta, and from here you have sin alpha sin theta plus sin alpha sin theta upon cos alpha 2u square sin theta upon g cos alpha. Take LCM cos theta cos alpha plus sin alpha sin theta upon cos alpha. So 2u square sin theta, this is upon g cos square alpha, and this is cos a cos b plus sin a sin b. So that is going to be cos a minus b, right? This is your range. Again, note it down quickly. Then I'll derive. Last 2 minutes theory left. Done. Noted.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Ayushi.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now again, see, we have the range like this. So this is again going to be a function of theta, right? Theta is going to be a variable here. So again, we'll differentiate it. Differentiate this dr by d theta. So constant term will come out. So 2u square upon g cos square alpha and d theta of sin theta into this. Sin theta into cos theta minus alpha. So this is constant. Let it be like that. This is product rule u into v. So differentiation of sin is cos theta. This will remain as it is. And this is minus sin theta minus because of we'll differentiate this cos. So differentiation of cos is minus sin theta minus alpha. And now we'll equate this to 0. We differentiate it and then we equate it to 0. So this constant term is not going to be 0. So only this thing will be 0. Cos A, cos B minus sin A, sin B. That is going to be cos A plus cos, cos of A plus B. So cos of A plus B is 0. This will become 0 when this angle is going to be 90 or odd multiple of pi by 2. So this is 90. So theta is going to be 45 degree plus alpha by 2. So up the plane, inclined plane, theta has to be 45 minus alpha by 2 for maximum range. And down the inclined plane, theta has to be 45 plus alpha by 2 for maximum range. Note it down. Noted.
Yes, sir.
So in the previous case, we had R max. We found R max. So we got U square upon G 1 plus sin alpha. But in this case, we'll get U square upon G 1 minus sin alpha. Right? So you can put and find, but I'm just saving some time. But you have to remember this thing. So you can notice one thing. First you note it now. Noted? Okay, fine. Now you can see one thing. Up the plane, R max was up the plane, R max was suppose up the inclined plane, down the inclined plane. R max was U square upon G 1 plus sin alpha. Alpha is is the angle of inclination of the inclined plane. And down the plane, range is u square upon g 1 minus sin alpha. See, you can see that this denominator is larger than this denominator, right? This is minus, this is plus. So obviously, R2 is going to be more than R1. Obviously, if you throw any ball from like a downside, it will travel more distance because of the acceleration component of the gravity will work towards the motion. And suppose okay, fine. So this is one observation, right? Okay. Let me give you one question. Suppose now theory is over. We'll talk about some questions. This is the inclined plane. Oh, this is the angle of inclination alpha. And suppose from here you throw a ball at some angle theta with the inclined plane with some initial speed u, and it will follow the parabolic path and it will strike the plane here. So the point where this ball strikes the plane, it will strike completely horizontally. So completely horizontally, this ball will strike the horizontal plane, right? This ball will strike the plane completely horizontally in horizontal direction. You have to find the relation between theta and alpha. Find relation between theta and alpha if ball strikes the inclined plane horizontally. Let me see now how many of you solve this. Try. I'll be back in a minute. You guys solve it. देवयानी, श्रेया, युवसी, अर्चित, तमन्ना सब वीडियो। ये गलत बात है। देखो, दिस इज नॉट द करेक्ट वे। वीडियो ऑफ करके रिलैक्स नहीं होना है। वीडियो ऑन करो, सब लोग ऑन करो। तमन्ना तुम भी ऑन करो, श्रेया तुम भी ऑन करो। पता होना चाहिए ना कि टीचर को क्या कर रहा है, टीचर मतलब क्या कर रहा है बच्चा, टीचर को दिखते रहना चाहिए। श्रेया तुमको कार्ड लेके दूं, इनविटेशन कार्ड, करो जल्दी। क्या करती रहती हो वीडियो ऑफ करके? ठीक है ठीक है, चाकू को मत दिखाओ, सॉल्व करो।
सर लैंप है वो, सर वो
ओ
उसका।
अच्छा, मुझे लगा चाकू दिखा रही है, डरा रही है। ठीक है, सॉल्व करो। क्या हो गया? You should not have taken more than 5 seconds. थ्योरी पढ़ने में बड़ा मजा आ रहा था सबको। Everyone was enjoying theory. थ्योरी से पढ़ के सबको अच्छा लगता रहे यार, कितना आसान है। अभी बताता हूँ ना क्वेश्चन कैसे बनते हैं प्रोजेक्टाइल मोशन में। अभी दिखाता हूँ काइनेमेटिक्स क्वेश्चन। अवरोदीप, अवरोद्वीप सॉरी।
यस सर।
क्या फिट जी, क्या हुआ
हाँ।
बताओ? एक्स एल एन क्या हुआ, कितना टाइम? सुन लो, अब मैं बताता हूँ। हो गया, समझ गया मुझे, रुको देखो। See, one thing, can you notice that at this point, at where this ball strikes the plane, inclined plane, it strikes horizontally. So suppose if this plane was not here, if this inclined plane was not here, then we can consider this motion as ground to ground projectile motion, and it would have completed path like this. And from, if you consider ground to ground, so the angle of projection would be theta plus alpha. So this would be the complete time of flight for ground to ground projection. And because we know that from ground to ground projection, at a maximum point only, velocity becomes horizontal. So at this point, velocity becomes horizontal. It means that this should be the maximum point. So if from year to year, this is the time of flight for ground to ground projection, then half of this would be the time taken by this particle to come from here to here. So if there is no inclined plane, then we can consider this as ground to ground projectile motion. In that case, angle of projection would be theta plus alpha. And this is because here at this point, because this at this point ball is striking the inclined plane horizontally. So from ground to ground projectile motion, at what point ball like a projectile has the velocity horizontally only, in a horizontal direction only, at maximum point only, at maximum height, there is no velocity along y-axis. There will be only one velocity along x-axis. So this should be the maximum point for ground to ground projectile motion. So half of this time must be the time of flight for inclined plane, because from here to here, this is the time of flight if you consider this projectile motion on inclined plane, and this should be the half of this complete ground to ground projectile motion. Now, for ground to ground projectile motion, time of flight should be u sine theta. Theta is the angle of projection. So for ground to ground, angle of projection should be theta plus alpha. Theta plus alpha upon g. From ground to ground. So this should be g only. G effect g only. For time of flight on inclined plane, angle of projection is theta. So the time of flight should be u sine theta upon g perpendicular, that is g cos alpha. G gone, u gone, u gone. Now sine theta plus alpha into cos alpha equal to 2 sine theta. Theta. This is the relation between theta and alpha. Let me know if you understood. Let me know if you understood. If not, then ask.
The time of flight 2u sin theta upon g na, so there should be a 2 there. सर
हाँ
सर वहाँ पे एक 2 भी होना चाहिए ना, टाइम ऑफ फ्लाइट तो 2u sin थीटा बाय जी होता है, तो 2u sin थीटा प्लस अल्फा अपन
हाँ हाँ राइट राइट, तो हाँ करेक्ट है, तो 2 कट जाएगा.
So why you equaling it? Can you explain that again?
Why I?
Oh, it's just okay, good. But sir, how can it be theta plus alpha when it's not, when it's complete motion, when it's ground to
No, ground to ground, ground to ground. So what is, if you consider from ground to ground projectile motion, this
Something-
should be the angle of projection, no?
Yeah.
From this is your ground.
Yeah, understood.
Everyone understood? Tamanna?
Yes, sir.
सबको समझा अच्छे से? ठीक है, अगला क्वेश्चन और टफ आने वाला, बढ़िया वाला आने वाला है. पार्थ, आर यू एंजॉयिंग? देवयानी समझ में आ रहा है? श्रेया जी आपको सीएमपी से अच्छा पढ़ा रहा हूँ नहीं? चलो डन. चलो अगला क्वेश्चन देता हूँ. शानिया, ओ सॉरी, हाँ सानिया सही ना? करेक्ट
Shine.
ना? ओ
Shine.
शाइना, शाइना चलो, शी अंडरस्टूड. लेकिन अगला क्वेश्चन देते हैं.
Yeah.
अच्छा ओके फाइन. Okay, next question is, see, this is your ground. This is your ground. And this is one inclined plane. And this is other inclined plane. This angle is 30 degree. This angle is 60 degree. Right? And suppose from this plane, inclined plane, if you throw the ball perpendicularly at 90 degree, this follows this parabolic path and strikes this plane at complete 90 degree. At 90 degree, it will strike. Right? At complete 90 degree, it will strike. At complete 90 degree, it will strike. Huh. Okay. And suppose this is your point P and this is your point Q. This height is, let's say, H. This height is H. This height is capital H. The initial speed with which the ball is thrown is 10 root 3 meter per second. Right? Okay. Question is, find first time of flight. Time of flight means from P to Q. Let me write it very specifically. Time of flight from P to Q. Second point is speed with which ball strikes at point Q. Q is this point. Third question is height of point P and point Q from ground. This is your ground. This is your ground. This is your ground. Fourth, distance PQ means this distance. This from here to here. Try.
So what is the time of flight?
Madam, 2 seconds.
Oh.
First, you guys tell me, if you understand the approach, how will you approach this question? Explain me one by one. Shaina, how did you approach? What do you think?
So I'm not completely sure, but like I took theta plus alpha for each, and I took 90. So 2 u sine 90 by g cos 30. And so I tried to use the relation we derived in the previous question.
No. Hold on. Parth, can you explain?
What I'm trying is I took this inclined plane as the x-axis, this is the y-axis. So when it hits this inclined plane, the x
Correct.
velocity. So I'm
Looks good. Yeah, sounds good. Okay. Tamanna, what's your approach? Tamanna.
Sir, we will take x-axis and y-axis and down the plane motion we will consider.
अच्छा. Abro, Dweep, Saha.
सर मैंने ये किया, मैंने P और Q को ज्वाइन किया,
अच्छा.
फिर वो जो है ना वो P का वो नीचे वाला एंगल, उसको मैंने 30 लिया.
30 है ही तो लिया क्या? अच्छा. हाँ ठीक है. ओके.
ठीक है, तो वो मैंने अगर आप P और Q के इंटरसेक्शन वाले पॉइंट को O लिखोगे तो मैंने OP को ग्राउंड माना और फिर PQ बन गया आपका इंक्लाइन.
ओके.
PQ इंक्लाइन बना, दैट मेक्स एन एंगल ऑफ 30 डिग्री विद द ग्राउंड. फिर वो अप द इंक्लाइन वाला कॉन्सेप्ट आ जाएगा टाइम ऑफ फ्लाइट अगर निकालना है तो.
ओके. देवयानी.
Sir, like P or Q से surfaces है, अभी P से if the particle is projected from P तो वो Q वाले line से parallel होगा. तो मैं वैसे solve करता हूँ.
आयुषी.
Sir, I didn't get it.
अर्चित. ओ अर्चित बाबू.
सर नहीं है.
सिन्हा जी आप.
सर वो जो शाइना बोली मैं वैसे ही करने का कोशिश की, बट वो तो गलत है.
अच्छा ठीक है. ओके. अब मैं करता हूँ. देखो क्या, देखो ऐसा करते हैं हम लोग विल एज्यूम एक्सिस अलोंग प्लेन. Suppose this is x-axis and this is y-axis. Consider one plane as x-axis and other plane as y-axis. See, this is 30, this is 60, so 90. So this will be 90. So we can assume this as x-axis and y-axis. So you can think like, this angle is 90 degrees. So there is a small hint that you can take axis as these two inclined plane. Okay. Now, okay, from here, see, from here, ball has been projected. Understand it. So ball has been projected at 90 degrees. So it means that parallel to x-axis, parallel to x-axis, parallel to x-axis. So the acceleration that g that acts downward. So this is 30, this is 90, so this is 60, this is 30. This angle is. So acceleration has two components. One along this line. So this is g cos 30 and this g sine 30. So g sine 30 is how much? G by 2, and this is g root 3 by 2. So you can see that g by 2 is acting along the negative y and root 3 g by 2 acting along negative x-axis, right? So suppose if you are facing problem in imagining things in this line of frame, so just do one thing. Just rotate this complete thing by 60 degree clockwise. Rotate this complete frame as rotate this complete frame by 60 degree clockwise. So now this will look like this. This is your x-axis and this is your y-axis. And at this point, ball was thrown with initial speed 10 root 3 meter per second along the x-axis, parallel to x-axis. So this is the direction. U is 10 root 3 meter per second, and there is acceleration that is acting towards the negative x-axis. See, negative x-axis, that is minus √3 g by 2. This is your ax. And g by 2 is the acceleration acting towards the negative y-axis. So this is your ay equal to my g by 2 downside, right? Now, this ball strikes at point Q perpendicular to x-axis. So this will come and like this. It will strike the ground perpendicular to x-axis. So it means that at this point, there is no velocity along x-axis because it is striking the x-axis at 90 degrees. So only one component of the velocity will be there, that is Vy. And Vx will be 0 at this point. Understood? Okay, fine. This is the point P. Now, what you will find? Time of flight. So from here to here, time of flight you have to find? Time of flight you have to find. See, we can use this information. So Vx is Ux plus Ax into T. So Vx is 0, Ux, that is 10√3. Acceleration is this much, but towards negative x-axis. So it should be minus √3 by 2 into g is 10 and time is this. √3 gone, this gone, and t is 2 seconds. Tell me, easy or not? Understood or not? Now you guys find the rest of the part. Now tell me.
The speed is 10 meters per second.
Sorry?
Speed is 10 meters per second.
P is 10 meter above the ground.
Speed.
Speed. Acha. Okay. Let me check the answer. Yes, sir. सब फाइंड आउट करो, सब बताओ, सारे आंसर आने चाहिए सबके.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
When you say height of P and Q, you mean you have to find h in terms of what? Like
numerical value only.
Oh, okay.
So for that you have to find OP and OQ. OP is displacement along y-axis and OQ is displacement along x-axis. Just find that and then apply the formula, like not I mean triangle, sin theta and cos theta, you will get it.
Yes, okay.
अर्चित समझा? श्रेया जी सब लोग समझा? जहां पे किसी को डाउट हो पूछना.
Yeah, sir, 10 meter per second.
सबको आ जाएगा 10 मीटर पर सेकंड. फिर चलना आगे. सबको आ गया, शाइना को आ गया, पार्थ को आ गया.
सर मुझे भी आ गया.
श्रेया को भी आ गया,
समय को भी आ
दिव्यानी को भी आ गया. अवरोदीप, अर्चित, आयुषी, तमन्ना
सर आ गया.
आ गया. ठीक है. अर्चित
मेरा
नहीं आया.
सर कैसा आया?
आयुषी कैसे आया ये पूछ रही हो? देखो, तुम्हें क्या निकालना है? तुम्हें निकालना है वी वाई, मतलब स्पीड निकालना है ना. स्पीड मतलब एक्स कंपोनेंट तो कुछ है ही नहीं. देयर इज नो एक्स कंपोनेंट, देयर इज ओनली वाई कंपोनेंट. सो यू हैव टू फाइंड वी वाई. सो वी वाई, how do you find this? Vy equal to uy plus ay into t. So Vy you have to find. There is what is the initial component of velocity? There is no component along y-axis because the ball was thrown parallel to x-axis. So this is ux only. There is no uy, right? So this is 0. Acceleration of acceleration along y-axis, that is g by 2.
जी
That is 5. So minus 5 into time taken 2. So Vy is minus 10. Negative sign just represent the direction. So this is your 10 meter per second, right? Understood? अर्चित आयुष जी
Yes.
ठीक है,
Yes, sir.
नेक्स्ट करो, थर्ड पार्ट करो. Height of P and Q.
So what is the answer for height of P?
Madam, height of P is 10 meter.
So for this question,
Oh, no. Wait. Not height of P. OP. OP means like, if you consider this as origin, this OP is 10 meter.
So OP is 10 and OQ is 10 root
See, na, see, this OP. You can see that this. See, OP you have to find. Na. So this is basically the displacement along x-axis. And OQ is the displacement along x-axis. And OP is displacement along y-axis. So if you find this thing, so displacement along y-axis is y, let's say OP. This is uy into t. There is no uy minus half ay, that is 5 into t square, that is 4. So minus 10. So OP is minus 10. So displacement is, this is 10 and x is suppose OQ. So this OQ is displacement along x-axis. So x equal to uxt. So what is ux? That is 10 root 3. 10 root 3 into time minus half. Acceleration is this much. So root 3 by 2 into g into t square. So that is gone. So this is 20 root 3 minus 10 root 3. 10 root 3. So this is 10 root 3. So you got this thing. You got this length, right? Displacement. So you can apply the Pythagoras and you can find this thing, that is under a square plus a square, that is 100 plus 300. So this is 20. And you have this length, you have this angle, you can simply find h. How? Sine 30 is perpendicular upon hypotenuse. So h is 5. Like that, you can also find this capital H. Understood?
So can you rewrite the part in green? I can't understand the last one.
Okay, so this is y is OP. OP means okay.
So not that part, so like below.
Which one?
From
This
minus 10 onwards. Yeah.
this complete thing, na?
Yeah.
See, this y is like this OP. You can see that OP is displacement along y-axis. So I found displacement along y-axis as uyt plus half a by t square. So uy means initial component of the speed along y-axis. There is no initial component because it was through horizontal. So ui is 0. So 0 into 2. T equal to 2 is the time of flight plus half into g into a acceleration, that is along y-axis, that is g by 2 means 5 downward. So minus 5 into t square. 2 square 4, 2 gone, 5 into 2 minus 10. Understood?
Yes, sir.
And now x means OQ, that is displacement along x-axis. So uxt plus half axt square. Ux is 10 root 3, this thing, into t is 2 plus half ax. Ax is this thing. Ax is this thing. Root 3 g by 2 opposite to x-axis. So minus and then t square is 4. So simplify it and got it. सबको समझ में आया? अब्रोदीप,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
तमन्ना,
Yes, sir.
अगला क्वेश्चन बहुत टफ होने वाला है. नोट करो इसको, देता हूं अगला क्वेश्चन. अगला क्वेश्चन तुम लोग को समझेगा तब ना. बोलो क्या सर, क्या क्वेश्चन देते हो आप? कहाँ गया क्वेश्चन भाई? कहाँ रखा मैंने इस क्वेश्चन को? यस, हियर इज द क्वेश्चन. मैं आंसर भी दे देता हूँ साथ में, जिससे तुम लोग मैच कर सको आंसर. बोलना, सबका लिखा हो जाएगा तो बोल देना. Everyone noted? Shall I move ahead?
Yes, sir.
Chalo. Here is the question. लो करो.
So can you explain the diagram once?
क्या हुआ? What happened?
Can you explain the diagram once, sir?
If I explain the diagram, then you'll solve it easily.
Okay.
Okay, let me explain it. Let me explain it. Don't worry.
No, sir, because it says inclined plane, but the like the surface
See.
is not.
It says that there is an inclined surface of inclination theta. Suppose this is your inclined plane and this is the ground, right? So this is your inclined plane and this is the ground. So this angle is theta. Understood? Okay. A smooth groove is cut into it, forming an angle alpha with AB as shown in the figure. Okay, so AB is one of the side. This is the inclined plane that makes theta angle with the horizontal, and with AB, this is your AB. See, this is your AB. If you look at the diagram, you will understand. This is the AB that makes angle with the horizontal, right? This is the AB. And with this AB, suppose a groove is cut like this. Some groove is cut like OA, and that makes alpha angle with the this AB. Suppose this is A. This is, suppose this is your suppose, let me reverse this diagram. This is your This is your plane. And this plane, this is your plane. And this makes angle theta with the horizontal. So this angle is, suppose this angle, it will make theta with the horizontal, right?
Where's the 3D figure?
Sorry?
3D. Are they showing 3D?
Yeah, it is in 3D. So this is the plane that makes theta angle with the horizontal, right? Imagine it. Now, a groove will be cut. That starts from A. And so in this, like, a groove is cut like this. So
Sir,
that
मिल
makes
गया
some.
आंसर
हाँ?
मिल गया यहाँ आंसर आ गया
हाँ, ठीक है, okay. So that will make some angle with the AB. So suppose this is the groove. Suppose this is the groove. That makes some angle with AB. Right? And this is the length of the groove. This is the length of the groove. And this is O. So first you find, so you have to find, like, a steel ball is free to slide along the groove. So yeah, here, if the ball is released from point B, here the ball will be released. So initial speed of the ball will be 0. So ball will travel along the groove, right? So find the speed when it comes. So here, when it will strike here, you have to find the speed. So you can apply, see, length is given. So you can apply V square equal to U square plus 2AS. So U is 0. So V square is U is 0. So 2A into S. S is given. That is 2AN. So you have to find acceleration along groove. You have to find acceleration along groove, right? Okay. Now, you can do one thing. See, this is the ground. This is the inclined plane, suppose. And some object is kept here, suppose. This is the angle theta. So G will act downward. So this object will have two components, like acceleration along this inclined plane and perpendicular to plane both. So this angle is theta. So this will be G cos theta, and this will be G sin theta, right? So acceleration along inclined plane, that will be G sin theta. See, so this will, suppose this is your inclined plane. So acceleration of this ball along the inclined plane will be G sin theta. Along the plane, ball will slide down. But groove is not made along the, like, groove is made like this. See, if groove was made perpendicular to AB, then this angle between groove and AB must have been 90 degree, but it is saying that the groove makes angle alpha with AB. Means this angle is alpha. Groove makes angle alpha with AB. So this groove is not along the line that is perpendicular to AB. It is at some angle, right? So if this is alpha, this is 90. So this is 90 minus alpha. So if suppose if this is the inclined plane and ball is coming like this along the line that is perpendicular to this baseline, then acceleration of this ball could have been G sin theta only. But this is not coming along this line. It is coming along some other line that is making some angle with baseline AB. So you have to further take the component of acceleration G sin theta along the groove. So this angle is 90 minus alpha. So the component of the acceleration G sin theta along the groove will be G sin theta. This is the acceleration, and cos component of this acceleration along the groove. That is cos 90 minus alpha. That is G sin theta into sin alpha. So you found acceleration along the groove. Put here V square equal to 2G sin theta sin alpha into L. So V will be this. Understood or not? Well, let me know. Let's analyze the situation. Where is Parth?
Sir, my phone's dead. Just 2 minutes. I'll charge it
Okay.
up.
Where is Archit? There is no more. Acha, he'll come. समझ में आया तुम लोग को?
Yes.
तमन्ना, you understood? Shreya, Ayushi, Devyani, Shania, oh sorry, Shaina.
Yes, sir, got it.
If anyone has any doubt, please tell me.
सर आपने जो जी साइन थीटा लिया और उसका फिर कंपोनेंट करके एल वाले साइड तक उसका वो लिया, उससे इजी होता तो एल साइन थीटा ही हम लोग अगर उसका कंपोनेंट ले लेते और फिर डायरेक्टली हो जाता, मतलब एल साइन अल्फा अलोंग द लाइन वो हो जाता आपका डिस्टेंस.
वही बात हुआ. यस,
हाँ.
करेक्ट. सेम बात हुआ. सेम बात हुआ. सेम बात हुआ. क्योंकि you will take displacement along that line only. That's
हाँ,
fine. Same thing. Same thing. बताना फिर चलेंगे. We'll go ahead with next question. Done, guys. Chale, next question. Shall I move ahead? Shania, Shaina.
Yes,
Sorry. Sorry.
yes, sir, done.
Next question. Solve. Prove करो. Any luck, guys? तुम लोग अच्छा अब्रो द्वीप कौन सा बुक फॉलो करते हो फिजिक्स में सॉल्व करने के लिए?
HC वर्मा,
बेटा एससी वर्मा से एडवांस से प्रिपरेशन कर रहे हो ना?
पहले मेंस।
ये गलत तरीका है। पहले मेंस तो क्या तुम्हें लगता है पहले मेंस से तैयारी करोगे 2 साल, उसके बाद 2 महीने में एडवांस कर लोगे?
सर पहले HCV खत्म करूंगा, फिर उसके बाद वही बुक्स करूंगा ना।
साथ साथ में करते रहो ना। एससीबी तो फटाफट खत्म हो जाएगा, उसमें तो लेवल ही नहीं है क्वेश्चन का एससीबी का। एरोडोप साथ साथ करते रहो, वरना फिर दिक्कत यही होगी तुमको कि पहले तुम्हें लगेगा कि एससीबी खत्म हो रहा है और एससीबी तुम खत्म कर रहे हो, लेकिन तुम्हें वो चीज नहीं मिलेगा जो तुम चाह रहे हो। एससी वर्मा सॉल्व करने से तुमको उस लेवल का कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं आएगा जिस लेवल का तुम्हें चाहिए। अब ये जब क्या होगा, तुम्हें अभी ये पाइल अप होते जाएगा, काइंड ऑफ समझो बैकलॉग ही हो गया तुम्हारा ये। आगे जाके परेशानी बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ जाएगी, क्योंकि इन दी एंड तुम इतना एक ही बार में नहीं कर सकते। तो इसलिए शुरुआत से करते चलो, रोड करते चलो। तमन्ना तुमने कभी किया एरोडोप?
सर नहीं।
एससी वर्मा से कुछ नहीं होता है। एससी वर्मा बस तुमको खाली बस, ठीक है, बुरा नहीं है, ठीक है, बट वो जेई का नहीं होता है। चलो मैं समझाता हूँ तुम लोग को, अभी तुम लोग से नहीं हुआ ना, सुनो। देखो क्वेश्चन क्या कहता है कि a particle is projected up an inclined plane of inclination beta at an elevation। देखो बेसिकली ये ट्रिग्नोमेट्री है, दिस इज नॉट द फिजिक्स, दिस इज बेसिकली ट्रिग्नोमेट्री। ओके, दिस इज द ग्राउंड, inclination, angle of inclination beta at an elevation alpha to the horizontal, particle is projected up an inclined plane of inclination, so plane of inclination, so this is beta at an elevation alpha to the horizontal. So this should be, this complete angle should be alpha, right? Because particle is projected up an inclined plane of inclination, up an inclined plane of inclination beta at an elevation alpha to the horizontal. Horizontal say, from horizontal it will make alpha angle. So the angle of projection from inclined plane will be alpha minus beta. Show that tan and okay. So we have to prove this thing. And if particle strikes the plane at right angle, right? So let's prove A part first. So if this particle strikes the plane at right angle like this, right? If it strikes the plane at right angle, it means that if you consider this as x-axis and this as y-axis, so there is no velocity along x-axis here. Whatever velocity will be, that will be along y only, right? So one thing you can do is, see, let's assume u is the initial velocity. So there will be two component, u sine alpha minus beta, and this is u cos alpha minus beta. So you can see that ux is u cos alpha minus beta and vx is 0, right? So apply this formula, vx equal to ux plus ax into t. Right, t will be the time of flight, and you know that you can simply apply the formula because you know the formula. So time of flight should be 2u sine angle of projection, that is alpha minus beta, upon g perpendicular, that is g cos beta. G cos alpha, alpha was the angle of inclination, so angle of inclination is beta, so it should be g cos beta. And so put here, you will get vx as 0. This is u cos alpha minus beta or AX. AX means downside. AX means along. See, this is the G, and 90 minus beta. So this angle is beta. This is beta. This is 90 minus beta. So this angle is beta. So it will have G cos beta and G sin beta. So acceleration along axis is G sin beta. So G sin beta into time of flight, that is 2u sin alpha minus beta upon G cos beta. So u and u gone, and 2u sin theta, and then G and G gone. So this cos alpha minus beta equal to this complete thing, just multiply by cos beta here, cross multiply. This is 2 sine beta sine alpha minus beta. All good till here? Now, just do one thing. Now apply trigonometry here. Now apply trigonometry here. How? That will be, just bring cos alpha minus beta here and sine beta over here. So cos beta by sine beta, that is cot beta. This is 2 times tan alpha minus beta. Here you apply the formula of what we have to prove. We have to prove tan alpha equal to cot beta. Okay, so let it be cot beta only. This is 2 tan A minus B, that is tan A minus tan B upon 1 plus tan alpha into tan beta. We have to prove tan alpha. So we have to remove tan alpha from here. Okay. Cross multiply. So cot beta into 1. Cot beta plus cot beta into tan alpha into tan beta. So tan beta, cot beta gone. So only tan alpha. So this is 2 tan alpha minus 2 tan beta. Bring tan alpha this side. So 2 tan alpha minus tan alpha. That is tan alpha. This will to right side, left side. So we have proved part 1. Understood all?
Yes, sir.
Understood? Note it down. Who left now? तमन्ना कहाँ गई? तो कुछ नहीं समझा क्या?
सर आप ये वीडियो शेयर करेंगे ना?
हाँ हाँ डाल दूंगा YouTube पे.
ओके सर.
ये वीडियो टप जा रहा है क्या?
Yes, sir, done.
All done?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now second part. Second part says that second part says that if the ball strikes the plane horizontally, means the ball will strike the plane horizontally, means like this, like this. So at this point, there is no y component of velocity. So there will be only one. There will be only, I mean, don't call it x component because we have taken x like this. So there is no component along this, right? Okay. Now, so again, you can apply the same thing. If you suppose that if there is no inclined plane, so this will, this might have gone ground to, this might have followed ground to ground projectile motion because this is the maximum point. So it should be the middle point, right? So in this case, you can assume that. So this is your, this is the ground, and at this angle it was projected. So angle of projection was alpha. So from here to here like this. So at this point, there is no because at this point it is horizontal, right? It is striking the inclined plane at horizontally. So there is no vertical component of the velocity. So it should be the maximum point of this ground to ground projectile motion. So in this case, again we do the same thing, like we'll apply this formula concept time of flight for ground to ground, time of flight for ground to ground by 2, half of this should be equal to the time of flight on inclined plane. I already we already did this time of flight of inclined plane. So just apply this formula, 2u sine alpha upon g into 2 equal to 2u angle of projection sine of alpha minus beta upon g cos beta, right? Just apply the formula. 2u gone, g gone. So sine alpha by 2 into cos beta, cross multiply this, sine alpha minus beta. Just take this 2 to this side. Now, sine alpha into cos beta equal to 2. See, sine A minus B. So sine A cos B minus cos A sine B. Just divide this. This is 1. If you divide by this is like sine alpha cos beta upon sine alpha cos beta. This is 1 only, minus cos alpha by sine alpha. This is cot alpha sine beta by cos beta. That is tan beta. So 1 equal to 2 minus 2 cot alpha tan beta. So 2 cot alpha tan beta is 1. So we can say that what we have to do, we have proved tan alpha equal to 2 tan beta. So 2 tan beta equal to 1 by tan alpha, that will go to right side. Hence proved. Tell me, understood or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. Where is Ayushi? Oh, see. अच्छा, her class, dancing class. Okay, okay. इसलिए उसने पूछा कि वीडियो शेयर करोगे नहीं करोगे.
तो आपका क्लास कब तक है?
हो गया, खत्म हो गया डन.
तो मैं लीव कर सकता हूँ?
हाँ हाँ.
थैंक यू सर.
Thank you.
Can I also leave?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Bye bye.
Sir, अभी 9 o'clock, right?
नहीं, आज मैं अपने उसको